Hey, this is Kate from Moose and J Paper. I thought we would do another printable. So this time I'm going to take an existing image that I already have and add some text to it to make it a little bit more unique, and then that will be the printable that I make, and we'll also make a cut file so that we can include that. I wanted to go with this washing machine. I don't really care about the green, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Um, are we going to get rid of it? How are we going to do that? I need the vector of this image. There we go. It's gigantic. Alright, so if you ever have this where you pull in a file and it's huge, enormous, yeah, this is like an 8.5 by 11, basically. This will take up your whole screen. So we're going to change that to, I want it to be about 1 inch. I have to go find it, wherever it ended up. Let's zoom out a little. Where'd you end up? Okay, so we're going to start making it smaller incrementally. Oops. Well, that's not what we want to do anyway. Okay. If you want to resize an image, make sure you've locked the aspect ratio, otherwise you're going to get some weird results. And then we're going to slowly go down so that we can still see it. We're going to drag it back on here. We're down to 1 inch. That's all we really wanted. So here's our full printable sheet. And we did not lock in that aspect ratio soon enough. So we're going to click on this. It's locked. We're going to go down to 1 inch. There's it. Okay, so we don't care about this turquoise, so I'm going to click on it and delete it. You need it to be an SVG in order to do that, because then you'll maintain the layers. So we're back on our sheet here. So we have a washing machine. And on its own, it's not super interesting. But if we add a little bit of text, that'll be nice. We're going to go ahead and make this a scriptier font here. Now this fits pretty nicely all together, but I don't want it to be quite so stark. So we're actually going to match this lighter blue. So we've got our washing machine, we've got our laundry here, and we're going to add that white outline. And I'm actually going to go ahead and click off of that because I'm going to move this off of the sheet first. Oops, I should connect these. So we're going to highlight over these both and Control G to combine them. I'm going to move them over here, so, or I'm not, because then you can't see it. I'll just put a temporary background behind them. Okay, that's great. So temporary background is there. We're going to add an outline. We're going to make it white and make it a little bit bigger than it is. Let's make a cute little die cut. Control Shift Alt S. Selection without background. We want to save this as another SVG, and we want to export text as curves because we don't want it to rely on finding that font again. So we're going to save this for our purposes into the desktop. Printables, laundry. Save it as SVG. And to give ourselves options, we'll save it as a PNG as well. Okay. Now that we've got this little guy, we're going to tile him. So one way we can do this is just to control, let's see, I think I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6. So we'll just do 5 copies. Command J, 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 J. Now there are 6 of them total. Highlight all of them. And we're going to align horizontally, space horizontally. Uncheck auto distribute. Scroll down so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to auto distribute or distribute them visually. There. I like the way that looks. Okay, so now that we have all of these, we can actually group them together. Well, how about we don't group them together? We'll keep them highlighted, but we will hold down Alt and Shift, and then click and drag ourselves down here. That seems like a reasonable space. I let go of the wrong thing first. So Alt, Shift, click, down, unclick, and now Control J, Control J, Control J, Control J, Control J, And one more. So much laundry! But, I mean, that'll get you through for a while. And then once it's done being our freebie printable of the week, then I will include it as a regular printable. So I'm first going to save it as the printable of the week. Although actually, to keep from having to change that all the time, typing is hard. We're just going to name it. So I had previously named them and then I changed it, and I have changed my mind once again. Okay, so we took an existing SVG image, we deleted the background because we didn't want it, we added some text, and put a little nice outline background, and now we have our original PNG printable. Or it will be a PNG once I save it, called Control Alt Shift S, and we will save the whole document as a PNG. I'll call it laundry sheet. And Control Alt Shift S again. Save it as PDF. Laundry sheet. Okay. And now we're going to take all of these and save them as a PNG with no background so that we can put them, make them into a cut file. Laundry grid. Okay. So now that we are done with our setup here, we have our printable that we made. We saved it as a PNG and a PDF. And now we're going to make the cut file. So we're going to switch programs. Okay, now that we are in our cutting program, again, you'll see we're using Shortcut Slot 5 Pro because we need the print and cut features. If you just have regular Shortcut Slot 5, you are not able to do print and cut through that, so that will make cutting a sheet of stickers impossible because you need to be able to print them. So first we're going to import our canvas. I saved our updated blank canvas. So that's what we have here. This is just that same PNG saved. And then I will import the grid This is where we can eyeball it. See, it looks like they're a little closer to the bottom than they need to be. So we're going to move them up a little bit. That looks like a little more comfortable space on either side. We'll zoom out and then back in a little. Look like we're in a good place. So if we preview this, right now it's going to cut out right around that edge, which is actually exactly what we want. What we don't need is for this canvas to have a cut line. So we're just going to call this one a print. So we're only going to print the canvas, and then the cut lines will just be on here. And so for my particular cutting machine, you can see those registration marks we're showing. I will show those again. I have mine set to be cut in pretty close to the image itself because there's really no reason not for it to be. Because I don't want it to go over the page. We want everything to be within the printable area. So we have that little bit of white outline, and if we decide we're not happy with that, you can actually just shut off this cut file, or you can go to the cut file, and then you can add a shadow layer. And if you want to add like a little bit of background, so we're going to do it a blackout, print and cut outline. You can't see it here, but that's because there's a white background. But you'll be able to see. Here's the shadow layer I just created. And there. That's what that would look like if we wanted a little bit more outline. But I don't need more outline. I'm perfectly happy with the little bit that we had right here. This looks good to me. And remember that this is always going to be a preview in the cut file, so don't be too alarmed that everything you see is not super crisp. So we have our cuts around our items. And just to be sure, we're going to check out what that looks like when we print. And you'll see that this is set for a much larger kind of paper, so that does not look right at all. We want 8.5 by 11, and that's okay. We want to therefore make our mat size the same. If that's the printer or the page we're printing on 8.5 by 11, then that's what we would want. And this looks like what we want it to look like. Interesting, somewhere along the line, our cut got turned off. So we only want those to print, and we will have those registration marks. So let's see what that looks like when we go to print. Print the registration marks. And it is telling us that some of the parts are outside of the lines, and it looks like, yes, that's over here. We are getting slightly outside the bounds, which of course is not what we want. So our best solution for that is to grab all of our grid and just make it ever so slightly smaller. And then center it. Center it to the page. And maybe just for good measure, make it just a little bit smaller yet. That's why it's good to always have your print preview on so you can see what is going to happen. And that's what it looks like now, which is plenty of space. It will not interfere with the cut line because it is a certain percentage away from that final cut, so you know that you will be inside of that line. Okay, so now we have a full cut file. It is ready to print. If you open it, you can just go directly to printing. You might need to change your settings if you have a different size piece of paper. Then you'll want to move around. We're going to make sure that it is centered, and we will save it. We're going to save this as the same. Save to the desktop here. S&J laundry sheet. And there you have it. We have another printable. So now with our PDF, our cut file, and that's our canvas, and our PNG, we're going to upload all three of these as our printable of the week for tomorrow. Today is Saturday. And those will be available, and then after that, they will be available in the shop. So you'll want to get them while they're free so you don't have to pay $1. Thank you for joining along while I made this week's printable. I hope you had fun. If you were learning your cutting software along with this printable tutorial of sorts, or your Affinity Designer, I hope that watching me click through things made some sense, and this was able to be helpful for you. Alright, see you again next time. Bye!